Hi there, Kevin here. The video you're about to watch, it's mastering emotions, and today I will master my emotions. Just know, to master anything takes 10,000 hours of practice. So don't watch this and anticipate that you're going to be perfect at it overnight. You're not. It's going to take a long time, it's going to take a lot of practice, and it's going to take a lot of focus. But I think to be able to master your emotions, you need to be able to identify what emotions are and be able to recognize what their purpose is and how we use them, and that's what today is all about. So enjoy. Hello, Kevin Jones Dioka here. We're still talking about this book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, and we're on scroll 6. Today I will be master of my emotions. I decided to come out here today in my backyard and have the backdrop be the garden, the little garden casita area that my wife Chelsea and I just built over this last weekend. And the reasoning behind that is I didn't realize till I met my wife and we started to plant a garden how much that I really enjoyed gardening and how peaceful, quite frankly, it was for me to be able to calm some of my emotions and get some things going. Now, usually most of this book that we've been going through, I've been posting on my private group, Coaching, Collaboration, and Consciousness. And if you want to get on that group, just message me and I'll go ahead and send you an invite and we can get together and you can join the private group. But I thought today it was very good for the times and very timely to be able to put this one out to everybody on Facebook and talk about mastering emotions. It's a time when everybody is, God, we're at a height of emotion about everything that's going on with the coronavirus and being locked down and being on stay-at-home orders, and when are things going to open up, and there's economic fears for people, and can they pay rent, can they pay their mortgage, are they going to be able to pay their bills, even those that are lucky enough and blessed enough to still have a job, be able to work from home. There's still concerns and there's fears and there's anxieties there and emotions that quite frankly a lot of people just have a hard time dealing with, or maybe have never felt before to the extent that they're feeling it now. And I thought we'd have a discussion about that a little bit today. So I was doing some research on the topic, and I came across an article by Michael Miller on a website called 6 Seconds, and it's an emotional intelligence website. I highly recommend going to check it out. I had never really been there before until I started doing research on this a little bit, because before we can really master our emotions, I think we have to be able to understand them and we have to be able to identify them. So check that out if you can, but we're going to walk through it really quick because I thought it was very insightful. The article that Michael wrote is really 7 things that you need to know about emotions and that everyone should be aware of as we feel them and go through them, and it sheds some light on some things for me. So the first one is really what emotionals are. There you go. What emotions are. Emotions are electrochemical signals that flow through us in an unending cycle. We always have emotions. Every second of every day, we have an emotion of one form or another, and they're released in our brains, and it's a response to our perceptions about the world. And the good thing about that is if emotions are responses to a perception, then why can't we change our perception? And in theory, if you can change your perception, wouldn't you be able to change the emotion that you're feeling in regards to what you're perceiving? And there's some people that are better at this than others, but it's all about paradigms and perceptions and how you view something. If you view it positive, if you view it negative, if you view it threatening, or something that's assisting you and helping you out. So the first important thing to know, I think, when you're looking at what emotions actually are, if emotions are responses to a perception about the world and what's going on around you, if you want to feel a better emotion, then let's work on changing the perception. If the perception is the core cause of the emotion, then, and not the other way around, then perhaps we need to focus on that. The second thing that he wrote, I'm looking over here because I have my computer sitting over here looking at it, but the second thing he wrote is there's 8 basic emotions. And this comes from a scientist named Robert Plutchik. He also created the Wheel of Emotions, and I've seen that before. So it was interesting he put it in here, but there's 8 basic emotions, and then there's a lot of variations of those emotions. So the 8 basic emotions are joy, sadness, fear, disgust, surprise, anticipation, anger, and trust. And with those, there's opposites. There's opposite emotions. As you have 8, you have counters of each other, right? So if those are the primaries, then joy, for example, the opposite of joy is sadness. Fear, the opposite of fear is anger. The opposite of anticipation is surprise. The opposite of disgust is trust. So that's kind of how that works, and they're neither good nor bad, right? They're just, these are the primary emotions that we have. There's basics, and they can't exist without each other, which brings me into the third thing that he talked about, which is emotions are neutral. Emotions are neither inherently good or bad. They just are, right? And how we react to them and how we let them consume us could be good or bad. And the actions that they lead us to something, that they lead us to, or that we feel that they lead us to, could be good or bad. But the emotion itself is neutral. And there's necessity for all of them. 10,000 years ago, if somebody was feeling anxious, if someone was feeling fear because there was a tiger chasing you or something, or there was a threat, you had to have that fear, because that fear led you to survival. Fear wasn't bad at all. Fear helped you live and kept you alive. And those purposes for those emotions are no different today than what they were 10, 20,000 years ago. Our world has changed. We're not afraid of getting eaten by a saber-toothed tiger now. We're afraid of maybe not being able to pay our mortgage, or pay our rent, or pay our bills. We're afraid of how someone might feel if we act a certain way. Or if we do something we shouldn't have done, we might be afraid that we get caught. And what happens after that? It's still self-preservation. So it's important to know emotions are not inherently good or bad. They're neutral. And that helps us be able to change our paradigm a little bit, and I think be able to control our emotions a little bit more and be able to identify them. The fourth thing he talks about is emotions function to guide us to survive and thrive. And I just talked about that a little bit, but emotions focus our attention and they motivate us to live or to strive. For example, again, the tiger, right? If you're afraid, you run, and that helps you live. Each emotion has a purpose. Anxiety, for example, there's a lot of people right now that have anxiety about the situation. What anxiety's purpose is to focus attention on a potential problem. And I think if you see anxiety that way, to be able to master the emotion, you need to be able to identify what that problem is, and then do what you can to control that. I shouldn't say control the problem, but at least do what you can within your own power to bring as much of it into your circle of control as possible. And the more that you are able to control certain situations and at least focus, I shouldn't say control them, but focus on the portions of the problem and the situation that you can control, the more you do that, the happier you're going to be. And so if you can identify what the purpose of the emotion is, then you can do something about it to be able to master said emotion. If you know that the purpose of feeling lost is not knowing what your next step is, then let's sit down and figure out what your next step is, and perhaps you won't feel lost anymore. Number 5 that he talks about of the 7 things that we need to know about it is emotions are contagious, and I think we feel this a lot. The more and more that we watch the news or we talk to our friends or family or associates or our clients, the more we talk to our neighbors and get views on how they're feeling about certain situations and what their mood is and what their emotion is. Just so you know, moods and emotions and feelings are all different, but they're all interconnected, right? So if we know what their emotion is, and it's inherently contagious to us, and we will very easily pick that up. We hear it a lot in regards to mob mentality, and that was very important, again, 10,000 years ago, for emotions to be contagious. If somebody was afraid right next to you, then you should probably be afraid too, because it is life or death when you're facing situations in the wild where there might be a bear or a tiger or something, just sticking along the same theme, coming after you as a group, right? We are humans are pack animals, and so the emotions can spread through a group contagiously, both positive and negative emotions, right? Now, emotions are, again, like I said, emotions are neither good or bad, but they can be positive and negative. And if you have a positive emotion of happiness or glad or joy, that can spread through a crowd just as quickly as fear and anxiety and distrust. And knowing that not only allows us to master our emotions, but allows us, if we can keep our emotions in check and under control and how we react to them, and we master our emotions, then what we're able to do is help others master their emotions as well. So that's important to know. 6, he talks about emotions are different than feelings and moods, and again, I touched on that. The difference really is basically it's time. So if emotions don't last that long, and that's number 7 that he talks about, emotions are absorbed in the body in 6 seconds. What we decide to do with it after that is a feeling or a mood. It's if we give it power to go one way or the other, right? Those are feelings and moods. But emotions are absorbed within the body within 6 seconds. Again, going back to the top, it's a chemical reaction, right? That your body talks to your brain, talks to your body talks to your brain. But that only lasts 6 seconds. And I don't know about you, but I've been anxious, happy, fearful, joyful for what feels like a lot more than 6 seconds. And so I work on a daily basis on how to master my emotion, and I think that's what Og's talking about here, because our emotions can again, they motivate us and drive us in one direction or another. And if we allow ourselves to be overtaken by anxiety and depression, and we allow ourselves to get overtaken by distrust or disgust, then it will drive our actions and motivate us to do something in a direction that is not productive nor healthy. And I think if we're able to master that and let it be absorbed and out of our body in 6 seconds and move on, identify why we're anxious, identify why we're upset, identify why we're fearful, and what the purpose of that emotion is, and then be able to move on. And with that, there's a list of emotions that they put up on 6 seconds on the website, and it's a whole list of what it is and what the purposes are. Let me find the name really quick of what that is. It is a motoscope feeling chart. And for example, worried. If you're feeling worried, the purpose is to focus attention on potential problems, and then it gives you what the sensations are: eyes wide open, frown, knot in the tummy. If you want that, I'd be more than happy to forward it on over to you, or you can visit the website, sign up, and go to their library and find it. But if we're going to master our emotions, then we need to learn how to deal with them, and we need to learn the purpose of them. If we are going to be able to master stress and deal with worry and things like that, then we also need to have vices that are healthy, that we know ground us. Like the garden back here that my wife Chelsea and I built. That grounds me. And it allows me to focus on something that is just inherently good. And the wonder of nature, and how you can have one little seed, how one little seed or one cell grows into a fruitful plant, or a human being, or a tree, or a chicken. And I say that because I have my chickens right here. I don't know if you can see them. I'll move it over. Right, they're just hanging out. So it really is a wonder to me how that happens. And God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. But it's whether you're religious or not. I truly believe that everybody has a spirituality to them. But you have to be able to master your emotions if you want to succeed in life, let alone in sales. And if you want to talk about that more, feel free. Private message me, shoot me an email, give me a call. We'll sit down and we'll talk about it. But it is something that you have to focus on every day. And it's something that a lot of people struggle with on a regular basis. So this is something, it's a premiere video. I'm going to do a watch party with it. Hopefully you're watching with me on the watch party, and I'll answer questions through that. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please like, subscribe to it. It's probably, I'm going to post it up on my YouTube page too, and you can go and find that and like it and subscribe to all of it. If you want to see the other videos, then get signed up into my group, and we'll go ahead and get you in there in my private group. We'll talk about it. But that's really it in a nutshell. I hope that that you got a little something out of this today. And if you want to discuss it further, my information will, you can always find me here on Facebook, and shoot me a private message and we'll chat. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Happy gardening if you're a gardener.